Hello and welcome to the Lead Judges TV Magic Open Mic post-game show for Liverpool 0, Arsenal 0 in the first leg of the semifinal of the Carabao Cup. I'm telling you, Owen, it's the shirt. This shirt was worn from, what was the game after Everton? The one that we won after Everton. Was that Newcastle?
Jesus Christ, man, you must reek.
No, I'm getting to that. It was worn from that game, worn through all the 5 or 6 games we won in a row. And then I saw it all neatly folded on my dresser, having been put through the wash right before the Nottingham Forest game. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That can't happen. I mean, we're not going to lose this game just because my wife watched my shirt. And I wasn't going to wear the shirt for that anyway, because, all white, no red, no blood, no fam, no Crips. So we lost. So I put it back on today and a performance. So look, you're welcome. Owen, how you doing?
I'm good. What a performance given the circumstances, really. I know we're going to get stuck into it with the many people that we have in our red room at the minute in a bit more depth, but given the circumstances, with everything that happened, as I said, which we'll dive into, I think even prior to the game with 11 men on the pitch, if you had offered me that scoreline in the first leg away at Anfield, which is a notoriously difficult place to go, I would have grabbed your hands. I would have, snatched it clean out of your hands to walk away with a result like that. So,
when's the last time we got a point or 3 points in a league game or a result in a cup game at Anfield in the last 8 or 10 years, much less with the circumstances that we had today? I mean, I went into this game with all kinds of angst and frustration. When I saw the Liverpool starting lineup, it just got me angry all over again. On a personal level, I'm so happy everyone has recovered and they're okay. Thank goodness for all of them bastard pieces of shit. I had a lot of different kind of talking points to discuss, and if anybody that comes on for the open mic wants to talk about that, you're certainly welcome. Was Arsenal weak for not coming out in the media stronger against Liverpool? Did we roll over to their games, or is there any fault from Arsenal for that? Because a lot of people want to beat Arsenal over the head for basically not chirping louder and getting more upset about the bullshit that Liverpool pulled last week. I personally thought Arteta, his assistants, Stu McFarlane, all the substitutes should have just walked up and down the touchline the whole first half, sneezing and spitting and coughing and wiping their mouth and their noses and their anuses all over everything in sight. And
like a dog with worms. Just
exactly.
Acid on the Anfield sideline. But no, this
was my mentality going into the game, where I just assumed we were going to get bad. Which, as you know, is Cockney for batter. It's the best Cockney accent anyone's ever.
Because I'm so local to it, yeah. But no, look, I think that just shows where Arsenal are notoriously known as the classy club, and I think that is one thing, is that we couldn't have our fans or our club spitting, statements about how unprofessional it was from Liverpool to be getting so many false positives and maybe bending the rules to their advantage, only for us to try to do the same only a matter of days later. So I think it was morally, it was a massive win on the pitch, obviously, with the effort that was there, but off the pitch and how Arsenal conducted themselves through this bullshit, I think that was a moral victory too.
When we get steamrolled and it doesn't work out for us, it's easy to say the club are a bunch of let's use the word wusses. But it is better to show your dissatisfaction on the pitch if you can. And today we did. So the last thing I'm going to say before we bring in our open micers is I'm going to give you my man of the match today, and I actually just gave it away. It's the away supporters today. Old man Trev and his Gooner army today just absolutely battered Anfield today with their performance today, and it made me so happy to see the performance after the game of the Arsenal players coming over and finally recognizing what's due is due, because I mean that had as much to do with the performance today as any individual performance on the pitch. You can make fun of me for thinking that, but that is how I feel. So here's how this show works. It's an open mic show. We want you to have your say. You can go to GoonerOpenMic.com. It's GoonerOpenMic.com and join us backstage. We are giving preferential treatment to those who haven't been on the show before. We want people who are what do we want people to break, Owen?
Ducks only, nothing else.
Yeah, we want broken ducks on this show. This is not an open mic situation where we want the same 5 people on every single time. That content already exists in the Arsenal fanosphere, and like it or don't, we want to try to be a little bit different. So if you haven't had your say on this before, if you're in the chat and you have some comments, please come on. Gooner Open Mic. There are spots open. That said, we're going to bring in somebody. I don't know what time it is where he's living right now, but I don't know if he can possibly be appropriate enough on this podcast. But Max from the Arse Bros. He's a relatively new dad. He hasn't bought a new kit in years, so he's still wearing Puma.
Yep.
Tell us what you think about that performance, man. The mic is yours.
Oh, man of the match for me, Callum Chambers. Where have you been all my life, Callum Chambers? The funny thing about Callum Chambers is, when Tomiyasu came into the club, it felt like it was a Callum Chambers-esque upgrade, that it was everything that Chambers did as a right back, but in a more athletic body. So I've been really disappointed with Callum this year because I thought that backup right back spot was built for him, because essentially when you drop Callum in there, it's quite like for like with Tomiyasu minus a few FIFA points and attributes left and right. In the sense that you've got a centre back who is a right back, but is he a centre back, and he's kind of a right back, but he's neither of the two. So I thought Callum Chambers was absolutely massive for us. I haven't gone on to Stat Zone and looked at his stats yet, but his clearances would have been massive. And I don't think he lost a duel all day. I think he might have lost a foot race or two, but that's not uncommon.
A game like today, if you're looking at the stats and forming opinions based on that, then you didn't watch the game close enough. I mean, it's the eye test today. And he passed the eye test today for sure.
Yeah. And, did exactly what he should have done. We spend every week on every podcast, waxing lyrical about Bukayo Saka. And, again, the commentators kept saying today how good he was for a young player. And I'm at the point where I'm like, can we stop calling him a young player? Because he's good in his own right now. He's good as an adult. So let's get rid of the young. Every single time a commentator's mention him or a pundit mentions him, they've got to mention his age. I'm like, I don't care about his age, because he's a worldie and he continues to be a worldie. And I'm not sure what
I still prefer that people refer to my genitals as a young person, because it makes me feel a little bit better about what I have. But
no, just because your missus calls him the little man doesn't mean that it's young. That's not.
Yeah, I'm okay being a big fish in a little pond. But back to what you were saying.
I'm not sure what Saka came off with today, but I want to believe that he came off because he ran himself so far into the dirt that he was on the precipice of shitting himself. That's what I want to believe.
Well, and I think if we had the proper journalists covering the proper areas, we could find out whether that's the case. But I mean, my God, I mean, I've given the man of the match to the away supporter already, but if you had to name somebody on the pitch, he would be it. I mean, there are points of view, that Saka's been played too much. He needs a rest. He needs a break. When's it going to come? We've got 3 games in 8 days or 7 days, and then we had the chance to give him a break. But I mean, just when you think he is going to probably burn out, he plays some amazing football. He could have won that game for us today.
Yeah, and I think that is the only downside to this moral victory, as I've referred to it a few times, is that although it was exciting, nerve-wracking, but exciting to sit and watch Arsenal with their backs to the walls at Anfield, putting in such a spirited performance, an absolutely fantastic defensive performance. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't help but think that we've got a North London derby and then the reverse fixture of this in quick succession, and the amount of effort that was left out on that pitch by the players is going to have effects and going to have tolls. The only thing is that when I seen it, I think it was potential that, although Max was joking, that that he maybe hit the nail on the head, and it looked like he actually had an upset stomach to me. I don't know if it was an actual injury or a muscle strain or anything. It just looked like he was in a bit of discomfort with an upset stomach. So, look, our squad's being stretched thin at the minute with injuries, with positive tests coming back, and I think that this is going to be a really testing period for Mikel Arteta. Now, obviously, before we jump on to the elephant in the room, I think that a question that I'll throw to you, Max, is that do you think with, obviously, I think if Granit Xhaka's red card, as I said, which we'll touch on in more detail, but I think if the red card was for a foul on the last man, it's a 2-game ban. But if it was for dangerous conduct, i.e. the high foot, it could be a 3-game ban. Do you think that this could potentially push Mikel Arteta and the club to act on potentially taking in a midfielder to cover his absence, because we're really, really late in that position already?
I would have thought, Owen, that was already going to happen anyway because of how light we were. So if this perhaps expedites the situation, then, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it makes us push a button on a deal that we don't want to pay that fee, or we don't want to do that. Maybe it drives it through, but I don't think it will be necessarily we're now going into the market to look for something because of this particular incident. I'd be very, very, very surprised if that was for dangerous contact, if we couldn't argue that down to last man, because when I looked at it, I didn't initially think it was dangerous contact. I just thought you've taken out the last man and that's an automatic red. I said as soon as he made the challenge, I said to the TV, I'm like, red card, good night.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of a frustrating one, especially. We'll obviously jump on to the next guest, but before we let you go, mate, actual man of the match, who was your standout performers?
Actual man of the match, obviously Bukayo Saka, but this is almost becoming like I remove him from man of the match statistics because he's the default before we start. But honestly, for me, Callum Chambers, aerial duels won, how quickly he came to terms with the game. I thought he was absolutely fantastic.
Now, what kind of aerial jewels did he win? Were they rubies? Were they sapphires?
Yeah.
Dad jokes.
Well, we can't. Yeah. We're going to switch to the next open mic, but we can't do this without a crossover situation, because the last time we had these two together, we discovered some things about Fergus.
I miss you, Fergus. I miss your face.
Good eye.
It's been 4 months since the Gooners versus Cancer 24-hour podcast where these two made podcasting gold together. So we're not going to expect the same thing, but
No. He's divorced me. He's not texted me. He's not rang me. He's not done nothing since.
Because he wants someone that sells new cars instead of used.
I've been nothing to him. Well, to be honest, his bar's screwed. Melbourne and everything else has screwed him. So he's no good to me. I can't sell him anything. So he's no good to me. So,
it's very simple. It's very simple, Mike. When you make a call like that, you drop the microphone and you walk away. And that was a 4-month walk away.
It was. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. But
sorry, I got something in my eye.
It's the funniest thing I think I've ever heard on Arsenal podcasts and Twitter in the history of my life. And it came out of Max's voice. And we'll tweet it out if enough people ask for it. But
no point.
Old man Trev led the away. I mean, he's the captain of the away supporters as far as I'm concerned today. He was on camera before the game. I have video of him just standing there looking old and awesome.
They always pick the dodgiest looking characters to put on TV, don't they?
Where were you today?
What, me? I did consider going, but I didn't go because I done Forest away on Sunday, and I'm doing the derby on next Sunday. So I've done the pub, as you can hear, and I'm still on the Nelsons.
Which
right
pub?
Now.
Which pub?
My local pub. You
want to give a shout out?
It doesn't like telling people where it is because
no. He doesn't want the fanboys to come upon him.
He just doesn't want people to see him for what he actually is.
But hang on. So let's look at the facts. So I've been in the pub. I watched the football.
You okay, man?
and I thought it was outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And then I got a message from Mike saying, "Do you want to join?" He sent the wrong bloody link. I'm glad the people who are joining have got the right link, but the link he sent me was wrong. But I'm clever and I worked out.
What did I say? Gooners open mic or something like that?
You missed the letter off or something like that. But like hey.
Maybe that was intentional. Like maybe I send you that link, and then the rest of
let's
the
let's steer this back to football, Fergus.
Yeah, it is. And Mohammed in the chat who wants to join in. Anyone at all can come in. It's we're going to do this a little more orally after we're done with the two jokers. But Gooner open mic is how you join.
Appreciate that, guys. Listen. Let's look at the false positives. Lee, Ross, and Dan.
Yeah. Well, they're all. None of them showed. It was just Hilsey today. Nunny, of course, wasn't there either. I mean, my God, it was an away game. But all right, so Max, we're going to say goodbye to you, my friend. Please do join us again, and it's great to see you. Love everything that you do. When can we find you? Are you still doing anything with the Arse Brothers? Or
Yeah. We still do me and Darren, the Deli Gooner, and Scunny Mike. We still do voice. He's very smooth. Darren, isn't he? I don't know how he ended up with a package of degenerates like us, but he seems to enjoy it. And
I was disappointed when I found out that Deli Gooner was spelled with an H, like he's from India. I thought it was like a ham and cheese sandwich guy who I could really relate to. But yeah,
we still do our show, which is Thursday Night Live. We don't do it on nights, obviously, where there's a game because it's pointless because it's so overcrowded in the Arsenal stratosphere. But if you do like penis jokes and the occasional piece of football conversation, then come along to the Arse Brothers. We're there. It's lovely to see you all. Fergus, I miss your face. Call me.
I miss other things about Fergus.
Come on, Guns and Yellow Ribbons and ruin it like I've done many times before.
Just get the timing right, mate. I'll talk to you
Max,
afterwards.
Cheers, buddy. Take it.
Cheers.
Oh, you want to talk about it next, Ferg? You want to tell them what you do for a living? All right.
See you, he gets people drunk. Listen, thank you for that. It was nice to have a moment with Max just there. But Xhaka's red card, that was absolutely, what did you think? Was that a red card? I thought it was a yellow.
We're going to cover that, and we're going to have to do it in a way where we are able to move along the open mic thing. So First of all, Alexander, thank you for the super chat. I feel like if Xhaka and Cedric and Nketiah stayed on the pitch, I mean, I don't know why he's saying field. I mean, in America we call it the pitch. We would have lost. Hard to argue with that, as far as I'm concerned. Like the subs that were required and that were made in the first 30 minutes of the game. I mean, it's one of those situations where you look back and like, had we not done that, we would have just been. I mean, I don't know.
The way I would word it funny. Literally, that was the question I was going to throw to Fergus. Wasn't it even cover just the red card, Fergus? But more so, do you think without that red card that we would have got this result at all? Because to me, that really seemed like we were pretty lethargic in the opening minutes anyway. And Liverpool were really starting to pile the pressure on. But that just, galvanized the side, and I think that it eliminated one of the possibilities and just made our game so one-dimensional. Our job was simply defend, and that's it. Do you think that was potentially the reason that we're walking away there with any kind of result?
Yeah, totally. To be honest, the first 12, 13 minutes, we dominated the game. And then all of a sudden, Liverpool turned it on us. And 25, 26 minutes in, Xhaka gets a debatable red card. But tactically, I think Arteta.
Let's spend a couple of minutes debating it when you're done with this sentence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but tactically, I think Arteta got it to a T. He ended up chucking on 5 at the back. He put it 3 and just basically went up front. And I thought Arteta. You asked for a man of the match earlier from Max. For me, the man of the match. Yes, Chambers is a good shout. But it's Mikel Arteta. I thought he was outstanding the way he managed that. And I ask people who doubt Arteta and doubt his capabilities, and I'm not 100% convinced, but we didn't beat Liverpool, but we were 10 men against Liverpool, and we gave them a game. They at 85 minutes in, I think I sent you a text, Mike, in the group. they had no shots on target.
I
They
was
managed to get
very
one.
upset with you for doing that because I'm very superstitious about, like, we have this thing in our group where whenever Tottenham is like about to concede points in like the 80th minute, like if you mention it and then they score, it's
Jonah,
yeah. If I do that, it's hashtag FFIU. Feinberg fucked it up. And I thought Fergus fucked it up in this game because I was like, you can't say that until it's done. But
Mike, my point was on that. Regardless, if we ended up 1-0 down, we had managed that game so well that we and Arteta deserved so much credit. That is one of the best performances. That was a crap performance, but the best performance on paper that we have done for a long time. And yeah,
it's crazy because in the last 2 weeks we've had two good performances and a poor performance, and we haven't won a single game. But
to be honest, yeah, I stopped myself. I was going to swing into the City game, but I stopped myself. But yeah, the Forest game was
similar, but a completely different game, but a similar feeling afterwards, to where you can look at this thing and say, instead of saying, "Oh, we were unlucky, we were robbed, we deserved more, we played outstanding," it was, we did exactly what we needed to do today under initially very challenging circumstances and then much more challenging circumstances as the game went along, and managed to get the job done. I don't care that Salah and Mane weren't there, because we had three players who may not be as pedigreed as those two, but three players who make us way better than we otherwise would be, that weren't able to
listen. We had positive COVID cases. We had positive injuries, and we still turned up. Yeah, Liverpool bottled it the last time. We are going into the North London Derby on Sunday with 4/5. You look at the squad player in the AFCON. Tottenham have got one who's already loaned out to Metz or something like that. He's a French player. They bought and loaned out. So we have gone, and I admire. I also think Arteta is sometimes stupid and doesn't play the system, but I admire him from going, I'll tell you what, we're Arsenal. We'll take anybody on. We'll do anything. And he said in his post-match, you mightn't have seen it, Mike, on the pond side, but he said in his post-match thing, we got a young team, but I think they seized the moment. He talked about brotherhood. He talked about commitment. He talked about a few other things. And I do feel he's building something. And I don't know if he's...
You and I are very aligned in that. And you had and this is going to be the final word because we've got to move on.
Yeah, cool.
Outstanding appearance on the Highbury squad earlier this week with Dan Potts and with Russ and Kev and Soph. And, I appreciate that you were invited onto there to give, there's not sides, but you and I tend to be very simpatico on how we feel about this. I mean, we're not apologists, but I like your point of view. I think it's patient. I think it's understood. I think it's devil's advocate considered, which a lot of people don't ever consider the devil's advocate. So, I agree with you 100%.
One loss and you lose your head. Why one loss and you lose your head? Why not lose your head when we win 3-0 and when we smash somebody up and go, I still disagree. I still think he done that wrong. I still think he done this. I still...
Well, and that's why I like answers and feedback as the game's going on, which is why I asked in that chat that we were in at the 80th minute, if we lose this game 1-0, are you still looking at this game and saying, what a performance? Because
what was my reply? What was my reply?
Your reply was
totally.
Everyone's reply was 100%, including people who tend to sometimes have a more negative view on things, and I'm not castigating them. So I was happy to hear that, because I think today, after 80 minutes, we had already shown enough to be proud of this team. If we had lost 2-0 and some unlucky, crappy goals, you could still point to those 80 minutes and say, you know what, we learned something today. Owen has just been outed as being the German player.
Yeah, he's the gerbil. Final say, I've already said it already. Man of the match for me, if you want it, is Arteta. I think he managed that match absolutely perfectly. And boys, Mike, actually, directly at you, selling out to the PLCs or the LG TVs.
I am just trying to bring my love for this club to everyone and anyone who wants to hear about it. So there we go. Fergus, you're out. Love you, mate.
See you later, guys.
See you later.
All right. We're going to bring on Io, and we're going to bring him on under the context of a comment that was made in the chat. And he'll correct me as to whether it was Io or Ao, but we can talk about Xhaka because we haven't really dug into that.
We'll dive into that.
Yeah, let's dive into that. But the comment that was made was, where is it? It was here we go, from King Creo. And again, if your comment's highlighted, if your comment isn't highlighted, go to goonersvcancer.com. Or I'm sorry, got mixed up there. Gooneropenmic.com and join us and have your say online. You can have 3 to 5 minutes online and we'll talk with you about it. King Creo says, how TF do you give Arteta credit? He's the reason Xhaka is at the club while better players are sent on loan. Look, man, not a fan of his, but let's get into that. So, Io, where we go? Where are you, man? Where in England are you? I believe you're in England.
Am I echoing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you all good, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Bro, I'm in Liverpool, bro.
I'm sorry for that.
Do you reside there, or are you there for the game? I mean, you look.
No, I live in Liverpool, bro. I live in Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, you and I have in a friendly way sparred a little bit in recent weeks and I just want to let you know it's all love, man. It's all Arsenal love.
Yeah, I'll be so real. I did not like you, bro. But as long as it's cool. I'll be so real. I thought there was I thought you had something against me. I was like,
no, it's never personal, mate.
It's always personal.
Yeah.
Trust me, he's so personal.
No, man. No. Well, we won't go into it, but like there are a couple of things that set me off sometimes, and it usually has to do with when the conversation has to do with supporters enabling stuff as opposed to like just raw opinions about the team. But let's not go there, man. We just had a great performance against Liverpool. I want to hear
let's talk about the worst thing about that performance, though.
The worst thing about that performance was Granit Xhaka, and if we want to hit Arteta over the head for starting Xhaka, I mean, I'm sorry, but anyone who has any sense of football knowledge would have started Xhaka today because it was so clear from the last game against Forest what happened when we didn't have him. But I'm not going to defend Xhaka or Arteta in any way for that performance today. That was diabolical.
You see, with Xhaka, you see what Xhaka did, yeah? Xhaka is funny. You know why it's funny? The guy is so slow, bro. He knows he's not making that. He knows. But he decided to do it Bruce Lee. Kick my chest. Bro, like, how do you misjudge it so badly that you end up licking man's chest down, bro? It doesn't make any sense.
He didn't need to do that. He didn't need to do that. Like,
bro, but the ball is there. Look at he's looking at the ball for about 15 minutes, bro. And he's decided the ball's gone. He's touched it down. Yeah, he still licked my man in the chest, bro. That's a red card. I was laughing because people definitely put money on my man to get a red card. Just anyhow, Xhaka's on the pitch, yeah. You already know, man, I'm putting money to get him that he's getting sent off. And he got sent off. People make money today. You get me?
I went and looked back at it because like again, you know, is it because he was the last man? Because Ben White was kind of coming in? Is it because it was violent play? Because it really wasn't that hard of a kick and Jota almost actually grabbed his foot and brought it into him. Like all of this stuff. I know we're getting some feedback on the microphone from Ao, but can you mute yourself when you're not talking if you can? Oh, that's perfect, man. And then when we come back to you, unmute. I went back and watched it, and Jota was ahead of him, but he still had to bring the ball down make a play. And when you have that situation, Xhaka could have – the leg came in after he chested it, and he chested it away pretty poorly. Like he was not going to be able to recover from that.
Are you arguing that it's not a red card?
No. I'm saying that if Xhaka had just tried to make up ground and just defend it as opposed to lunging in, he would have had the time to get between Jota and the goal and put him off. I'm not saying it's not a red card at all. I'm saying, he led him behind him in a way that was pretty poor because as multiple people on Twitter who were at the game had said, he looked back and knew that Jota was there. It wasn't like taken by surprise. He knew he was there. He knew he was beat. And when he was beat and the ball was coming down to Jota, he could have just made up that ground in the last second while Jota was having to control it. And instead, he tried to get it right out of the air with his foot. He went in on his stomach, and
you're talking though. See, this
is the most idiotic of all the decision ranges that he had in that moment. It was the worst one to make.
You need to apply just a little context to it though, because I think to explain it in that much of a breakdown is you're talking a matter of seconds, like split seconds there.
Why do you always make the
I'm not defending Granit Xhaka at all. I think he's an absolute moron, and it was a straight red. He could have been either red carded. I've seen people arguing about was it for a tackle because he denied a clear goal scoring opportunity? Was it a tackle because of dangerous play? It could have been a red card for either of those offences because it was a clear goal scoring opportunity. How clear does a goal scoring opportunity get? It doesn't need to be an open net for it to be a goal scoring opportunity. It just simply needs to mean that you're 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. You're the last man. And in terms of
I don't buy that because he had to chest it down close to him, control it and shoot. And there was
running on there. Ramsdale had stopped and backtracked. It was a straight red, 100%.
Ramsdale wasn't backtracking. He was actually approaching him.
He stopped and he started backtracking.
Your mom started backtracking. All right. So I didn't mean to keep you muted for any other reason than the feedback on the microphone. But I think we're all pretty much in agreement. It's the one sore spot in the game today, and how much do you want to dwell on that? And do you have – this is going to come out wrong, especially in light of our recent conversation, but I'm legitimately curious, do you have positives to talk about out of today's games?
Do I have positives? Flipping, yeah, a couple positives. Obviously, give credit to Arteta. We really held on. We held it today, man. We were just holding. We were going to hold it with 11 men, by the way. Don't get it twisted. We had 11 men for 24, but we were still holding it. We were going to hold it with 10 men, and we held it down. We held it down. So I give Arteta credit, yeah, give him credit. But we were going to hold it anyway. We were going to get slapped around today. We were lucky to not concede. Minamino, you get me? He's playing. He was doing a rugby with that shot there. I don't know how he missed that.
Yeah, we'd be having a different discussion if he had just done what we were supposed to do. So that's like karma for the Martinelli miss a couple of weeks ago, or whenever that was, and that open goal rebound miss. But Minamino, thank you, Minamino.
But how jacked up, mate, does this leave us for the North London derby in the second leg now? With it was bare bones as it was, as I mentioned before, but now with the absence of Granit Xhaka, how sort of screwed are we going into these next couple of fixtures?
Man, apart from Tottenham will slap Tottenham are what? Yeah, them man are in a worse seat than us. We're good. You got me? Slap Patino in them games there. Slap flipping El Neni and them man. We're good. No, and then he's gone, innit? Flipping slap that's Salah.
My point proven, bro. We're so thin.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, though. I honestly, for the first time in my life, I was saying, you know what, we need Granit Xhaka right now. Because what we saw against Nottingham Forest was dreadful. There was absolutely nothing connecting the front and the back. There was no experienced head in the midfield, and the midfield ran over us. And I said, if we start that same midfield against Liverpool, whatever form of Liverpool we got, and we got a pretty strong form of Liverpool, we're dead. And I feel the same way. Even without Son, if we start the midfield that we had against Forest, against Spurs, we're in trouble. And what makes it different? Xhaka. Except now we don't have Xhaka, And frankly, Xhaka probably would have done something to bring us down to 10 men in that game. So, we better have Odegaard back in that game, or maybe Chambers has worked his way back in because I don't think we could just throw Lokonga and Patino or bring Aziz back off of his recalled loan against, with Portsmouth back and expect to turn up and get a performance against Spurs. They're going to be ready to play. They may be shit, but they're going to be ready to play against us. So we need to have a solid midfield. So who do you play in midfield? And then Ayo, we're going to move on to our next caller. On Sunday, who do you play?
Who do I play in the midfield? Against flipping, it's a tough one, man. It's actually a tough one, but really and truly, what option do we have? You wouldn't have to Lokonga and Thingy. We've got to do a Saka here. Remember we didn't have a left back. We slapped Saka and Saka done it. We got to do something. Someone's got to be able to play there. You get me? Someone must have played midfield back in under 16s, under 14s. Someone must have played there. We got to try something. You get what I'm trying to say? Someone must have played there. Maybe try what?
Jack?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Jack on a one-game contract with Jack on a one-game contract with a remit that he goes out there and basically in the 80th minute just kicks the shit out of as many people as he can before he gets thrown out of the game. I think that's the perfect solution, man. So
just do it, man.
Yeah, we got there's a thing on Twitter from a podcast we did with not another Arsenal podcast with Mike Hers, where we talked about it, and he's just basically going out there at mid pitch doing the Karate Kid thing, kicking
right in the gullet.
Oh, it would be great. I mean, he would be up for doing that, I think. But
100%.
All right, Ayo, mate, good to see you, mate. Take care.
Yeah, man. Have a good day. Have a good night.
Hopefully we'll chat again after a historic North London derby win. Take care, bud.
Cheers, mate.
All right, we have a duck breaker, and we're going to bring him up to the front. He was in the chat asking how to get in, and just like everyone else in the chat, if you want to get in, it is GoonerOpenMic.com. That's that easy. Mohammed, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, guys. It's my pleasure. First time with you. Hi, Mike. Hi, Owen. Introduce myself. My name is Mohammed from Palestine. I'm sports journalist. Of course, I analyze Arsenal on YouTube on occasions on some programs such as Arsenal Lounge.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on, mate. We want to hear your voice, and again, this is an open mic show, so obviously we've got a couple of things we could talk. We could talk about how. Actually, I think the starting midfielder against Spurs is going to be Leo Messo. I think we're going to bring him up, but let me take the reins. We want to hear what you have to say. So, Mohammed, what do you have a specific topic you want to talk about today?
No, just before Tottenham game, let's talk about today's game, Liverpool game. I think good result at Anfield. We know our awful record there in the last 20, 30 years at Anfield. So making a good result there is always difficult. Liverpool now is above us. They are a strong team. They built strong team in the last 5 years. We are building now a new team. The real building of Arsenal team started last summer with the 6 new young signing, and we are developing step by step. So we must mention today we played every time we play Liverpool at Anfield is tough game. At Anfield, Liverpool pressing high with their attacking style of play, with their fullbacks, Arnold, Robertson, always tough. With 11, tough. Xhaka made us play even more tougher with 10 men. So I think getting good result, clean sheet at Anfield tonight. All of Arsenal supporters, I think, will sleep happy because we see real courage today. I think our performance was courage, spirit. Our players fought for their lives, and we as Arsenal supporters must see this performance every match. So I think credit to all players who fought 200%, not only 100% of their performance, of their physics, of their running. Credit also to Arteta because straightforward, he changed the system from 2 in the back to 3 with Holding entering the match. If you Liverpool were dominating, have positions, attacking. It's normal. Or if you add the 11 and we are 10, but if you look at the whole picture, the real chance of the game came for Saka, for Arsenal to kill them.
One shot on goal combined in this entire game. And
One shot on goal. Add one good statistic. So it's now tasty to talk about it. We are the only team this season to prevent Liverpool from scoring at Anfield.
The first team since 2018 against Bayern Munich, I believe.
Wow. That's amazing.
This season, Liverpool scored in every match at Anfield. So today we prevented them from scoring. The only team that prevented Liverpool from scoring at Anfield this season. If you
do you have after that performance, mate? I'm just wondering, do you have much confidence for the next fixture, the reverse fixture? Do you think that that's somewhere we can take Liverpool? Have Arsenal this season made that in some ways a fortress of our own to be feared?
You know, when the Spurs game, North London derby is another scenario. Unfortunately, what's disappointing now for all Arsenal fans, for me also, is that we are entering a crucial period of the season with a light squad, with a lot of absentees. We are not having our full team. We are entering the crucial period of the season. So if you look at this is the point that I was aiming to talk about. People saying that, okay, Liverpool missed Salah and Mane. Okay, they missed Salah. But look at Arsenal absentees. Tomiyasu, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Partey. Our absentees is more influenced us more than Liverpool. They played full team. Expect Salah and Mane. So now the worrying scenes. I think North London derby is the midfield.
When you saw that Liverpool lineup come out today, the Liverpool lineup came out about 20 minutes before the
Very strong lineup. Really.
It was everyone they possibly could have had out there, with the exception of the 2 people at AFCON.
I think I actually said before the game, and you can stand for this, Mike, is that I put in when that starting 11 from Liverpool came out. I said that this is going to be an absolute tanking, that we were going to get hammered by.
Yes. There's a lot of people that said we shouldn't even try to win this. We should just try to rest our play. I mean,
Mike, the laughing thing is that things a week ago was vice versa, meaning we were full team. They were having COVID issues. They had these false tests of COVID, so they postponed the match. After 1 week, we were light. They were full team. So the picture changed in 1 week.
And a lot of people, and again, I spoke to a lot of people before the game, and I'm not challenging whether they were right or wrong. I'm just saying a lot of people were disappointed with the fact that we kind of, from a public standpoint, rolled over, said, we understand Liverpool, fine, whatever, instead of getting really kind of angry. And, it's kind of like when there's a strong foul, does Arsenal get in people's faces or do they just roll over? We, as a club, we did the same thing with Liverpool's bullshit with this COVID, false positive test. And I'm so glad now that it really doesn't matter anymore. The reason it doesn't matter anymore is because we did our speaking on the pitch. We took we took punches. I'm tired of being the
We
one who
have minutes
constantly
today
has to
on the
take punches.
pitch. You know, Mike, we have minutes today fighting for their lives on the pitch. So we enjoyed every minute fighting, and we are proud of our players all today. The main point that I talked with Liv on Arsenal lunch 2 months maybe ago, I said to him in January, and we were maybe in November or in October, we must strengthen in midfield. Even we know that Partey and El Nene already will go to AFCON. This is one. Two, even with their presence, we are not high level or have high quality in midfield, this area. Okay, in attack also, but in attack next summer we will do. If we can sign Vlahovic this winter, it's a tough deal. Our attacking lineup will change. Aubameyang, I think, will be sold. Lacazette will leave for free. Nketiah leave for free. So we will change our forward. But in the midfield, we are all, as Arsenal board are slow in transfers. We must have acted more quickly and signed a very good midfielder in the beginning of the window. In the first days.
Mohammed, we're very quick in transfers. We're very quick in transfers when it comes to loaning players out, though. I mean, you have to admit we're very quick at that. Mohammed, we're going to move up. We're going to transfer to our next open micer. We gotta keep it moving. We got a few people waiting. So glad you joined us, Mohammed from Palestine. You're a journalist. Where can we find your work?
I'm on Twitter at Mohammed Iraqi 10. I'm always present. It's nice today that I was with you, Mike Owen. I hope it's one and it's not the last. And we talk many times.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
You're welcome back anytime at GoonerOpenMic.com after a match, buddy. Take care. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
All right.
Thanks, mate.
All right.
What
From
a dude.
America, we're bringing in Dean from Texas for a quick hit. You've been very patient waiting. You were on before the show started. I appreciate that. How you feeling?
Like I was saying, Mohammed was dropping some truth bombs there, wasn't he? It's hard not to feel good about this. Like we mentioned, taking the Forest game out of it, going to, Anfield and getting a result, with the 10 men's not easy. And, that game against City, it's looking like the process and, what Arteta's been preaching, the team's buying into it. So it's hard not to feel good about that. Real quick, just wanted to get my feelings out. I've been pretty easy on Xhaka in terms of how I feel about him, but I think today was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think for me, him and Aubameyang, they're holdovers from 2 or 3 managers ago, and I think it's their time to go. It's hard for me to see them getting the way back, and if they never play another game in the red and white, I'm okay with it. Another thing I want to talk about was, for me, Ben White again is my player of the match. He's someone who I've been pretty harsh against, and one who I was very wary of coming in with that price tag, but he's been proving me wrong. And it's hard just to pick one person out. Chambers, the fans, the defense as a whole. You don't. Mohammed mentioned first time in however many years that Liverpool's been held without a goal. It's a team effort, obviously. The one thing I want to ask and kind of get going that somebody has it is I've been pretty against giving Lacazette an extension, but I'm starting to kind of question that a little bit. I thought with Aubameyang coming out, having his thing with losing the captaincy and them being really close, that Lacazette might lose interest with his contract. But out of the 3 senior players and our captains, he's the only one who's showing leadership, and he's kind of the one who's still around. Aubameyang and Xhaka have both let the team down, but Lacazette's been kind of the one that's still in there. So as much as I still probably don't want to, our striker options aren't looking that great right now, so it might be worth it to give him an extension for a couple of years, maybe as long as he will accept a, kind of a, not a starting role, but a rotation role. If we can get someone like Vlahovic or even, a top striker this winter or summer, he might be someone to keep around for a couple of years. What do you guys think about that?
Dean, I watched 60 minutes of Vlahovic today, and I'm ready.
He fell in love. He fell in love.
I watched 60 minutes of him today, and I ejaculated.
But it's multiple times
from a football perspective.
Absolutely. Football ejaculation.
I'm right there with you.
Look, the one thing that I will say is that I really, really like Lacazette for his attitude, for the way he carries himself, for what he radiates to the young players, and the way he sort of, as you said, carries the baton of the burden of the team in terms of getting the sparks going within them and getting that sort of fighting attitude that we've seen today going. But what I will say is that even though this was a fantastic performance, I'm not going to criticize anybody for on the ball stuff, because when your legs are tired, when you're putting that much effort in, those things are understandable. But I do think that even if you went back and watch that game with hindsight, slightly calmer head, that you would realize that in many ways it really highlighted a lot of Lacazette's deficiencies in his game. There was times where he got the ball and he didn't release it quick enough. He put himself into too much trouble. And I get that he was potentially trying to draw fouls, maybe to gain ground and take the pressure off the team. But there was passes available at times. He was trying to do too much at times, and was just a bit too slow to get into the box himself. So I think that an upgrade in terms of playing style is massively necessary, but I do think that it could potentially be a good idea. Much like people said David Luiz was for the dressing room, to keep that leadership there, maybe potentially almost like a cheerleader. He's just a good person to have around to give that leadership to what is a very, very young group.
No, for sure. And yeah, Lacazette obviously isn't the perfect striker, and he's getting towards the end of his career too. So that's why I initially was very wary of giving him an extension, even go back to about a year ago when talks kind of started up. And then, I'm still not sold. I'm just thinking of, Balogun isn't ready. And Ketia, I don't think is ready or may ever be ready. And then Aubameyang is going to be gone. So even if we do bring someone in, we're still really, needing two strikers. So he might not be a bad shout to give him. I think what we're offering, or what I've been reading, is 1 year. I think he wants at least a couple of years, which is understandable, being at his age and where he's at his career. It might not be too bad to give him, that couple of years just to have a little bit of a bridge, even if we do bring in a top talent at striker, which we need to.
Long as the wages aren't an albatross. I mean, it's always the wages that get, when we give extensions to people, it's, at $350 a week, it's at $300 a week, it's at $200 a week. We can't afford to be doing that. So if Lacazette fancies himself as having 3 years left at the top level, where he thinks he can get to 200 or more a week with Atletico or wherever else, I mean, it seems that his future, if it's not with Arsenal, is outside of England. Mm-hmm. And I think the wages are just less outside of England. So I'm not really 100% clear on what it is that he wants, unless it is just a guaranteed starting spot. But he belongs on a winning team. And I think he's fungible enough to play a role that doesn't always have to be consistent from one game to the next. It can be, having the kids under his tutelage. It can be deferring to guys like Martinelli when they're ready to just rip. And I don't understand why we've left this so late. 3 more years with Lacazette at a high wage is the kind of deal we need to not be making. Yeah. But 2 more years at a reasonable wage, he's the kind of guy that could you not see him in the coaching staff at some point?
I've got my reservations. I'll be perfectly honest with you about look, these are much like the Aubameyang deal, where we're stuck and there's a necessity for somebody to carry a bit of weight, and somebody does it quite well temporarily, and then we jump ship and we're like, do you want to know what? Just throw the money at him and keep him here. And rather than, I put it like this.
Let me be
If we
clear.
could-
I would have replaced
no.
him with Tammy Abraham before this season.
Yeah,
if I
but
could.
if we, I would rather see the club do something. For example, like if we couldn't get the striking option that we need now, I would rather the club play Gabriel Martinelli for 6 months in that position and then get the right target than trying to jump into bed with the wrong type of player again, with the bad attitude, with too high a wage demands, whatever it is. I would rather us wait to get the right person because that matters more in the long term.
For sure. I think it makes it harder too, especially with the Aubameyang one and then Xhaka too, right? He got an extension and a raise, and those two deals are looking, not that great right now. So I definitely understand. And again, I'm not sold. I'm just saying that for the first time in about a year, I would even entertain the idea of maybe, doing it just with our striker, where we're at and what we're able to get, either this winter or going into next summer. But I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on as always. And got to shout out my friends at the Gooner, Not Another Arsenal podcast. So
Absolutely,
Mike,
man.
the boys, Kelly, Sebi, and Chris, give them a watch. They do great stuff over there as well.
Yeah, NA Gooner podcast on Twitter. I was able to fill in for that pod on Tuesday, and we had a phenomenal time. It's just laughing is basically what the podcast is about.
Pure vibes, which is pretty much half our team at this point. So
exactly, so yeah, definitely check out that pod. And Dean, I love you, man. I hope to see you soon.
Absolutely, thanks,
Gentlemen.
All right, so we lost the person who's supposed to come on next. We sometimes it takes a while to get people on, and if you are True Gooner TV and you're still watching in the chat, please come back. We were going to have you on. I apologize for the wait. So our next person coming on is Rob Ford, one of my OG mates from DC. I've been to games with him. I've been to the pubs with him. I've been through a lot with him. And so if I can just figure out how to work this thing, I'll get him on screen. Robbie, buddy, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? By the way, I've also been through pizza and Mesut Ozil songs with you too.
That's true. That's true. We've done it all. We've done it all. Owen slept on my couch, but not quite as often as you have. So, I mean, if you got something to say that hasn't already been said, you know what? Let me do something, Rob, while I have you on, because I know you'll wait. We've got about 87 people in the chat. Love it. We had over 100 at the height. It's great to see that. We want more people coming on Gooner Open Mic, but we also want people to know about Gooners versus Cancer. GoonersVCancer.com is a fundraiser that we run year-round now. And what we're doing right now is we're giving away probably the best piece of Arsenal paraphernalia, should we call it, that I think exists in the world right now. So if you go to GoonersVCancer.com, as you're about to see in the video, as soon as I stop burping because I've had a lot of champagne, then check out the shirt that we have. If you follow this club for years, and if you know about the Anfield 89 situation, you will remember this very well. And this shirt just doesn't exist anywhere else. So take a quick look, and then we'll come back to you, Rob, okay?
Good ball by Dixon. Finds Smith. The top. Charge to the midfield. Thomas. It's up for grabs now. Thomas. Right at the end.
righty. There we go. You can have that shirt. You can win it. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars. You can just put $25 or 18 quid into a great cause, which is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and have your chance to win it. So while that was playing, Owen had to leave. So Robbie, it's you and me, buddy.
Nice. Let's get it going.
Is there a cleaning crew in your house? Because there's a lot of background noise, but now it's all good. All right. So we talked about Xhaka. We've talked about the away support. We've talked about where in your mind does this put our we got knocked out of the FA Cup in disgusting and ridiculous and embarrassing style on Sunday, whatever it was. I don't even remember.
Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. That's one of the 3 measuring sticks that we had for this entire season. The other one is considered to be a lesser cup, but we were all the way in the semis. And then the league, which, I think our best chance is probably 4th. Pretty gloom and doom. And then we come into this game. I mean, are you what's your pulse on the whole Arsenal positivity, negativity standpoint right now? Because I don't think anyone saw that coming today. And now next Thursday means a whole hell of a lot more than we thought it would.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know. I would say I said all year, it's a growing process. I mean, we're learning to be resilient. We're learning to brush off stuff like, we're learning from stuff like Sunday, which was just a complete disaster as far as our team goes. I mean, we're learning in terms of like, okay, what do we got to do to be more resilient? Today didn't really start off that great either, but I mean, credit to the lads for like really coming together when we went down to 10 men and just holding out the fort. I mean, it was Gallipoli, the 300. So we
it was. I mean, what I expected after 20 minutes was a clown show of like. I mean, we've seen it when we lost 5-0 to City. We've seen it many times under Arsene Wenger. We've seen it many times under Unai Emery and under Mikel Arteta. We've seen the team just break. And at some point you're almost like, I can understand why they broke, because all of these different things went against them. The last thing I expected today, and I will tell you, in no uncertain terms, I made financial investments today that were not, as much as I talk about fantasy Premier League being dumb, because then you end up rooting against our players and rooting for other players sometimes. I did something today that I rarely ever do, and that is I bet on Diego Jota to get a goal. I bet on Liverpool to win the game. I bet on Liverpool to win the game at the 65th minute because the odds were better. And the reason I did that, hoping to lose my money, I didn't bet big on it. I didn't like I wasn't going to be happier. The reason I did that is because I just didn't see this performance coming. And if we were to do it, I would have been thrilled losing that money and being on the wrong side of those bets. You can slate me if you want to for that, because I've come out against things that give you reasons to root for the opponents, but I was doing that as an emotional hedge basically today. I have never been more thrilled to lose every single one of those bets, because this team showed up and sacked up, man.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if you had told me we'd get the result we got today, I mean, as someone put it in another one of my group chats, bite your hand off. I mean, there's absolutely no way I would have seen this coming. But
do you think? I mean, do you think before we and we got about 5 or 6 minutes left and 2 more people to get on? Do you think that we got a shot at actually getting to the final now? I mean, we're at home. There's no away goals. I mean, I guess if there's an away goal that matters, it would be theirs. But do you think we can beat them next Thursday?
Yeah, one match at a time, Mike.
That's true. I'm not
one match at a time. We still have Sunday ahead of us, and I mean, we're as a lot of folks would say, we're a little skint at the moment. So one match at a time.
All right, so we go into Sunday. what do you do with the lineup? How many changes do you make other than Xhaka from today's starting 11?
I mean, I'm using whatever I'm basically using whatever we have left in midfield anyway.
Are we just playing like whoever's free and like whoever shows up on Friday or Saturday is?
Well, if we sign Jack Wilshere and Archer in the meantime, I can. But seriously, yeah, you have to. I mean, I think you have to use what is available to you in terms of the midfield, in terms of our depth there. Tavares played part of the game. I probably would slip him in ahead of KT, even though KT was marvelous today, I thought. And yeah, I mean, I or you could put Tavares on the right side since Tommy is down right now. I mean,
there's a man today that nailed that spot down, nailed back up, right back down.
True.
And I hope he nailed it down for good, because I don't want him starting, but I would not mind him playing if need be. And let's give props to the most handsome man on the club.
Yeah, he could deputize both in the hair department and the right back department. So,
well, Robbie, hope to see you soon. Feel good, and we got 2 more guys to get on. We're going to do rapid fire because we got to get out of here in about 8 minutes or so. I got to go congratulate my son in person who has made it into uni today. Big deal for him. So Rob, we'll see you soon. Hope you join us on a future open mic, and I will see you in the DC area very soon.
Cheers, Mike. Take care.
All right, buddy. Love you, man. Okay. I'm going to bring 2 people on together because we want to get the viewpoint. We want to get some, and I've lost my co-host because we drabbled on for too long. So we're going to finish this off in the next 5 or 6 minutes or so. Again, for future shows, if you want to come on GoonerOpenMic.com, on the Lee Judges channel, we're going to do this either right after the end of the game or more often than not about an hour after the end of the game. And we want to feature people who haven't been on before. So if you're a duck breaker, you'll get your say first. So Daniel and Kevin, bringing you on together. Kevin looks really relaxed. Daniel has been so patient.
That's all right, mate.
That's all right. Mike, can I say cheers to Jake?
Cheers.
Oh yeah, and same as well.
Yeah, man. Look, this wasn't a huge hurdle. We kind of expected him to get in, but like this is now my second of 2 children that I've gotten into uni. All the things that I'm supposed to do, I'm doing right. They're doing right. It's like how I act on a day-to-day basis that I struggle with. So, but thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Daniel. So, all right. So what's left to say that hasn't been said yet? The away fans, phenomenal.
The away fans were fantastic. I'll tell you what actually hasn't been said is that while we will be shafted in midfield, potentially Aziz or Patino next to Lokonga, we could push Chambers up into midfield because he played defensive for Fulham. I know they got relegated, and that was a few seasons ago.
That doesn't matter anymore because 11 players get relegated. One doesn't, as we've learned.
Apparently, that means I've got Galaxy brain. Something different from a different channel. We could do that, but we have no Xhaka. And you know what? I'm really worried for North London Derby.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good that Xhaka's out. I mean, I said we need Xhaka after the performance last week, but of course, I was then reminded of why Xhaka could be a liability. Daniel, are we just praying that Odegaard is able to play on Sunday? I mean, he's not going to be able to.
Yes. Like I am praying to whatever God there is that Odegaard is like fit for Sunday. Like I didn't know if I was going to watch it tonight, but then I was then angry. Well, kind of angry that I did because then I saw our favorite person get sent off, and like my actual reaction was, and Lee will like this, like you know that meme where he goes, "He's done it again," like that. He's done it again.
In that moment, is there anyone who would have thought that we weren't going to lose that game? That's the great thing about it. I don't like people judging things that happened during the game in hindsight, but looking back with hindsight, did anyone think that game was going to be anything other than an absolute travesty?
Yeah, I thought that as soon as Xhaka was sent off, I thought, oh no, here come the floodgates. And
shoulders down, heads down.
Yeah.
Mistaken positions out of inexperienced players. I mean, I thought the whole thing was going to come crashing down, and they had a team that, even though they didn't have their two best players, they had every single one of everyone else. I never saw that coming, that we would actually man up and sack up and get the job done against them. And so I'm actually kind of thankful to Granit Xhaka for showing.
Yeah, and
because it shows them that they had it in them.
Yeah, and I know that I've made my views to you on Arteta in the past. Like I am in the out sort of camp, but I'm not hounding him out. And if he does well, I will praise him for that. And tonight, he really got it right. Like making those changes. Well, because he was forced to, and they were the right ones. And he held that down. And to be honest, I bet we all thought that Liverpool were going to score 3, 4, 5, but we held them down. They didn't have a shot until so late. Well, a decent shot until late in the game. And yeah, that is one of the best performances I've ever seen.
Well, Daniel, there's someone that doesn't agree with you, and Kevin, I want to ask your feedback, because Ollie in the chat thinks Odegaard is shit. It was a shit job. It was a shit result. Fans sucking off a draw. Arsenal fans are a bunch of snowflakes.
Get out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's look. This is the open mic show. There's nothing saying I have to put. There's nothing saying I got to put comments on, but look, I'll put comments on to mock you because you are a loser.
Out.
What I'm going to say about Odegaard and shit, right, is the player is in front of Tierney, sees Tierney coming, plays the ball back to generate a goal. That was not by mistake. Odegaard is brilliant.
Yeah.
Odegaard needs time in the team. He is potentially another Santi Cazorla.
I don't think that's out of
and that's big praise.
Yeah, no, that's huge praise.
I love Santi.
That is big praise. He sees the game differently. Now he has his off games. He's only a kid.
Yeah,
we seem to laud this team. Yes, we lost to Nottingham Forest with an under-21 team. The average age was 20.4. And it increased to 20.5, something like that, when Tierney came on, because Tavares was quite rightly dragged off.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because Patino wasn't...
Yeah,
how was Patino? 18? Right?
He's going on 12.
Yeah. While his movement was great, he hadn't got the nous to try and protect that left-hand side. And... Nottingham Forest, I know we're talking about tonight's game, Nottingham Forest players saw that and exploited it.
Well, and there's something about body type as well. I mean, and look, you don't have to be big. This is not basketball. You don't have to be huge in order to be effective in football, but you have to be able to defend against players pushing you around. The problem with my son playing football as a kid, I mean, he's a very talented football player, but he could always get pushed off the ball because he was very slight. very tall, very thin. The problem with Gideon Zelalem when I watched him play in the U21s was I saw a guy who had all the skill in the world, but no ability to take the physicality of the Premier League. I saw him in the U21s getting pushed around. I'm like, that guy's not going to make it. I saw him play against Birmingham at Bournemouth, and I was like, this is done. So the difference between Patino now and Patino as he could be in a year or two from now is he needs to build himself up a little more physical.
And I don't want people to think that I'm anti-Patino. His time.
Well, who could be
anti-Patino
at this point?
His time is not now.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we've learned that
gamble, and it didn't work.
I think we've learned that with the ability to not have killed him in the process. I mean, there are guys that have been pushed through. I mean, 2.5 years ago at the summer tour, and I know that you start a lot of academy kids in the summer tour, but James, I think his name is James Oleyinka, was included in that team, scored a stunning goal against Colorado Rapids. And he was all part of that club, and then we've not seen him. He's actually part of the U18s or the U21s that just got through to the Papa John's Cups quarterfinal. Like it just doesn't mean that you're ready yet, and you have to get those little snippets without being absolutely killed by saying, "Oh my God, you're not good enough."
Patino's just not ready.
Yeah,
that's that's the club's fault for having to put him in, right, when he wasn't ready. I'm not anti-Patino, right? I'm not anti any club. I hate this Arteta out, Arteta in vibe.
I'm starving
to support the Arsenal.
I'm starving right now because I want some anti-Patino.
We've
got John saying it sounds like a starter. We've got Mark saying an Italian dish.
I've got a question for Daniel, if you don't mind, Mike.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you feel that we might be better off?
Hold on, Kevin. In about 2 minutes, we're going to switch to True Gunners TV, and then we're going to finish the stream. So, so let's do it.
Quick.
Do you feel that we'd be better off without Xhaka and the NLD?
Better off without Xhaka, yes. Because.
So who'd you play in midfield?
Even without Partey being available.
Got no Partey.
Got no Partey. I mean, that's a real hard question, that one, to be fair. Maybe
I put Chambers in.
I
put Chambers in.
Yeah.
Up, hoping that Tommy Asso can play it right back.
Yeah. Chambers does deserve to play on Sunday because he played a blind. Well, they all play a blinder pretty much tonight. And I would have two men of the matches. That would be James would be one, and Ben White.
Ben White had a good game. I actually thought that Ramsey had a bit of a shoddy game tonight.
100%. I'd put Chambers in because, and I've heard comments from people that have called him Calamity Chambers, but I'm like, if you watched him tonight, he was not Calamity.
There's one person that calls him that, and his name is Lone Star Londoner.
Yes, him.
And look, I hope
that guy. I hope he watched that tonight because he was not a calamity.
No,
his boy Xhaka was. And right. Last thing on Xhaka, one of the main things that is wrong with him is that his naivety when he goes into challenges like that.
Yeah.
No, it's inexcusable. I watched it back. I don't even remember if I mentioned this earlier, but I mean he could have played that in 2 or 3 different ways. And I'm not saying that Jota wouldn't have scored, but he made the decision that was the most extreme. I'm going to try to get this ball out of the air instead of I'm going to try to keep this guy from scoring.
Yeah.
I'm going to tackle him essentially instead of keeping them from scoring. And those are 2 very different things.
Yeah.
he wasn't 2 feet from goal, and he didn't have the ball at his feet yet. He had to chest it down. He wasn't going to chest it into the goal, and he wasn't going to head it into the goal. So Xhaka had time, and made the worst possible.
And always
decision.
in big games. Always in big games.
Always. So
I've come to the decision that Jack is a catch-22 player. Right, you can't play without him, but you can't play with him.
Well, I'm starting to think he's a catch-0 player in that you can't play with him.
Well, I think that we can play without him.
I agree with you.
We were forced to tonight, and we were
given the available players against Spurs. Would I rather Xhaka and Lacazette than Chambers and Lacazette? 100%. If I could be confident that Xhaka wasn't going to get sent off.
Yeah, but
why not?
It's the biggest game it's the biggest game of our season.
Well, it helps us solidify top 4.
Oh, it absolutely is, and we can't afford a red card in that game waiting to happen. So I guess we won't have to worry about it. We'll be playing a little bit below
red
strength.
card, and I'm glad he got the red tonight.
Well, we'll be playing short against Spurs, but hopefully we'll be playing against a solidified 11 that wants to play and is not going to do something stupid in the game that affects the outcome. Daniel, Kevin, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We're going to finish up with one last caller, and appreciate you hanging out here. And look, man, Sunday we might be on the Highbury squad on Sunday for the open mic game. We're not sure. I'm still talking to Soph about that. So
I'm just going to quickly say, big up Edu.
Yeah,
the changes that the players that he's brought in have made a massive difference.
Absolutely, and keep grilling. I don't care where you're grilling, just keep grilling. All right, Daniel, Kevin, thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
All right, and my apologies for taking so long earlier, but we got True Gunners TV on, baby. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brandon. I'm from the UK.
Hey, all right. Whereabouts?
Lincolnshire, mate. Lincolnshire.
All right. So you were a little north of London, I would say, if I have my geography correct. But
more around the Peterborough sort of area.
All right. Sorry. Peter. All right. So Peterborough, not far from Cambridge, where I went to visit Danny. Sorry that we took so long to get to you earlier, but let's hear your say, and we're gonna finish off with you tonight. So, are you feeling like this was a watershed moment, or are you not quite satisfied with the outcome?
I'm happy with the result. Definitely happy with the result. I thought when the team lineups came out this evening, even though it was probably the strongest team that we could have gone with, I was worried. I've got to admit, I was worried because normally when we face Liverpool at Anfield, we get a bit of a slapping. So, and they had a strong team tonight. But it just goes to show that Liverpool without Mane and Salah is a completely different Liverpool altogether. And I thought we played very well tonight after the red card. I thought the players worked very hard. You could see the togetherness within the team as well. And Mikel Arteta, I'm going to big him up, which is a rarity for me because I am Arteta out, and I have been for a while. But I'm going to big him up tonight because I thought his substitutions were absolutely spot on after the red card. Keep us in the tie, throw a few defensive-minded players on, just keep us in the tie, and we'll take it back to the Emirates, and we'll see what we can do at the Emirates. Because if we're being honest, there's more chance of us beating Liverpool at the Emirates with the fans around us, and than what there is of us beating Liverpool at Anfield. Granit Xhaka, I've been saying it for a long time about this guy, but there's still ardent Granit Xhaka supporters within the fan base, and I don't understand why at all. All I hear when he doesn't play is, "Oh, we missed Xhaka."
Well, it's the grass is always greener thing. Is your name Brandon, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, because I'm seeing a lot of big up Brandons in the chat. Xhaka is I've gone like complete 180 on the guy in the last few weeks. I used to hide. I mean, I admit all the time that I have virtually no tactical nous. I've been watching the game. I've been a huge fan of the game. I'm devoted to the game for 35, 40 years of my 48 that I've been alive. But, I don't know. I don't claim to be intelligent about football. I know what I like. I know what I see. And most of what I judge has to do with like intangibles, like the mentality, the man management, the chemistry. Like that's always been my thing. When it comes to Granit Xhaka, I have always said that he divides people with his performance on the pitch. There are people who say, oh, yeah, like you just said, Brandon, yeah, we missed him today. And I think people could say that against Nottingham Forest with the ability to say that, knowing that he wouldn't have pulled somebody down and gotten a red card in the first half. You could say he does certain things on the pitch that we didn't have available to us during these games, and we missed him. And then we also have people who say he turns the ball over constantly, he provides nothing, and he makes stupid decisions all the time. I've always kind of tried to get away from judging him as a footballer while saying, my issues with him are about what he did against Palace, the whole throwing the armband down thing, the chirping at people every time he does one thing good and throwing it back in people's faces and saying, I don't care about him as a footballer. I don't like him as a guy. And the last 2 weeks, I've had multiple reasons to actually start liking him as a guy and hating him as a footballer. I mean, it was in the chat earlier. Somebody mentioned something about the guy who he bought tickets for because he missed there's an American guy who for his 10th anniversary with his wife, he bought tickets to come over to see the Wolves game. And as he's on the plane, finds out the Wolves game's been canceled due to COVID, and reached out. And Chris Wheatley did a great thing, and Granit Xhaka did a great thing. And Wheatley reaches out to Xhaka, and Xhaka gets him tickets to the January 1st game against City. And he decides to stay in London for an extra 3 days and so on and so forth, and gets a pretty cool experience at that game.
That's great. He probably didn't get to see Xhaka play because he spends 90% of his time at Arsenal, suspended because of red cards.
No. He got to see Xhaka play, and he got to visit Xhaka after the game after he pulled the dude's jersey and essentially lost us the game against Manchester City. And then the following game, from two following games, he does this. So I add him today on Twitter. I'm like, buddy, I know you love Granit Xhaka and he's done worlds of incredible things for you, but I'm like, I think I'm done with him. Your story tells me, and by you I mean this guy. I forget what his name is right now, but King Arsene Jr. on Twitter. His story and what Granit Xhaka did for him makes me soften about him as a man. But what he's done the last 2 times he's been on the pitch, we cannot afford to have him out there anymore. Brandon, we've got to be done with him.
The question that I've got is, there's a lot of heat for Granit Xhaka. There is a lot of heat for Granit Xhaka, and rightly so as well, because what he does on the pitch, the stupidness that he does, and if we're being real, since he's joined Arsenal, has he really improved as a football player? I don't really think so. I think the mistakes are getting more and more constant. The cost-worthy mistakes as well, like getting sent off or giving away stupid penalties or doing just pure stupidness. But my biggest thing is I can no longer blame Granit Xhaka anymore because he's been here for so long now. Yeah. He's done this time in, time out. So now, ultimately, my focus goes to the football club because the guy was flirting with Roma all summer. He wanted to leave. It was clear that he wanted to leave. We didn't allow him to go. We convinced him to sign a new contract. That in itself is down to the football club or the people that run the football club and Mikel Arteta. And then you've also got to look at the guy who picks him week in, week out. But it's almost like Arteta can't do any wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, he picks him. He chooses to play him. Okay, fair enough tonight. you know, we didn't have much choice. We had to play Granit Xhaka. But there's been other times where he seems to be a mainstay in this team. And I'm not fully blaming Mikel Arteta because it was the same under Unai Emery. It was the same under Arsene Wenger. So there must be something about this guy that allows him to be a favourite under any given manager. But
I think it's extortion. I mean, I think he has a team of people that take embarrassing pictures.
It could
I
be.
mean, I can't think of anything else. And yeah, I mean, you do have to keep looking at that, but at some point, it's got to end. At some point, someone has to wake up and say, even though maybe Granit Xhaka gets a red where others might get a yellow, even though maybe he has a reputation that precedes him that is unfair, if you want to give him credit for that, you cannot play him anymore. You can't. There is a better option. Maybe it's from outside the club. Let's hope that it's someone that we bring in from outside the club. But you have to just, and if he's not happy to be a squad player at Arsenal, and I don't think he would be, then he's got to go.
For me, all roads lead back to decisions that the club or Mikel Arteta have made. Like I said, how much longer can we keep blaming Granit Xhaka? We know he's got stupidness in his locker, but Arteta keeps picking him week in, week out. He offered him a new contract. And then on top of that, yeah, we're saying, okay, tonight we lacked options. We had to play Granit Xhaka tonight. But we're 14 days now into a transfer window. We knew Thomas Partey was going off to AFCON. We knew El Neni was going off to AFCON. We knew we was going to be short in the midfield, and we know.
And we decided to let Maitland-Niles go.
And we have a liability in the midfield in Granit Xhaka as well. We allow Maitland-Niles to go early on in the window before we get our replacement in. And this is why we're in the situation that we're in now. And I don't think people quite completely understand that, okay, tonight was a big game. But for me, the biggest game is on Sunday against Tottenham. You know, if for example, we lose against Tottenham and it's because of a mistake that's happened in the midfield because we're playing Lokonga and Chambers, two inexperienced players in that role. Lokonga's quite young himself, or Lokonga and Patino, which is
I think Lokonga was bought, I think, to as a future. Much like I felt about Guendouzi when he was bought in, and I'm not talking about what's happened with Guendouzi since. Those guys weren't supposed to be regular starters for the Arsenal in the season they came in. Lokonga and Guendouzi as well probably were destined for the U23s until midfield shortness and a couple injuries and circumstances led them to have to play, in which both of them had kind of quick starts and stayed with the first team. I don't think Lokonga was meant to be playing as many games as he was this season.
But ultimately, let's say we do lose against Spurs, and let's say, for example, it's a mistake that comes from the midfield, or we're too open in the midfield because of the lack of experience there. That could cost us our season. It could cost us our season, because it's all right winning a trophy. Yeah, I'd love to get to the final of the Carabao Cup against Chelsea and, win that trophy again. But we've seen it time and time again, year in, year out. Arsenal win FA Cups on a regular. It just papers over cracks. We now, as a football club, need to move forward. We've been out of the Champions League for far too long. The only way we're going to attract better players and move the club forward into the title challenge is to get top four and get top four again on a regular basis. So that needs to happen this season. We have a strong enough squad to do it. We didn't expect Manchester United to fall away the way that they have. But ultimately, we lose this game against Spurs at the weekend. They've got 2 games in hand, and it could be a 7-point difference. Now, that is a big, big gap to try and make up.
It is. I mean, and I don't disagree with you there. We have one thing. Well, I suppose Spurs are still in the FA Cup, but I mean, we've got one of the lightest schedules of the next 4 months of any football team in England, honestly. And so my hope is that we can really focus on making the most of these Premier League performances and consolidate our spot in fourth. We are not chasing from 8th to 9th to get to 4th. We've actually gotten ourselves there, and the result against Spurs will go a long way to see whether we're protecting 4th or trying to get back in. But I 100% agree with you. 4th is really what has to happen this season. So we're going to end it here. Brandon, thanks for joining us, man. I hope that you'll come back again later. Where can we find you? And your I'm guessing by your name, there's a channel involved. So let's give that some
100% is, yeah. You find me on YouTube, True Gunners TV. I have had my channel for a while, but I took a bit of a long break and I've just started back up again. So make sure you go over there and subscribe as well for all Arsenal content.
And if you don't go to that channel, you are not a true gunner. I mean, it's like either or. I mean, you either follow True Gunner CV or you're not a true gunner. I mean, I apologize for having to really bring it down on you. All right, so final words, but thank you, Brandon, for joining us. I appreciate it, man.
Final words. Good result tonight. Let's hope we can carry it on into the weekend. And I definitely think that the result tonight has given us a better opportunity to make the final. Let's take it back to the Emirates and let's see where we go from there. And thanks for having us on, Mike.
Hey, my pleasure, man. All right, so my final word is, again, the away team, the away fans today. I've been very lucky to be part of away supporters. I'm actually looking forward to 3 months from this week to being back in Selhurst Park with the away supporters for a Palace game that hopefully will turn out better than the other two that I've been to. But today the whole team came over and just kind of showered shirts on the away supporters. I saw Martinelli take his shirt off. I saw a bunch of people take their shirts off. There should have been, models taking their shirts off, which would have even been better. But I love to see it. I don't know why that's not every game. Win, lose, or draw, big performance or not, when you are away from home, taking that shirt with you on your back into the dressing room doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't save the club any money. It doesn't give you anything. Go over to the away supporters. Walk into the away supporters if you have to, like Ramsdale has done, and give them something that will make their week, month, year, whatever. People want that as a symbolic reward for giving up their time, their money, their effort, their travel. I mean, it's a lot to be an away fan in some circumstances on a Thursday night, going to Liverpool for a game that's going to end pretty late. Maybe you can, maybe you can't get back to London, but massive support for the away supporters. And I just think Arsenal need to lead the line on treating those people as though they deserve everything that they have coming to them. So big result tonight. I'm thrilled to be happy about this game. I did not anticipate it. We will be back. GoonerOpenMic.com will be the way to get on the air with us on Sunday, an hour after the final kickoff for the North London Derby. And the very last thing I'm going to say is, if you haven't already, please consider donating to Gooners versus Cancer. Not only can you help to kick cancer, to try to cure cancer, try to help families that are dealing with cancer, but you also have a very, very good chance, because we're only accepting 500 entries to win this. And once this is done, the show will be done. Come on, you Gooners.
Arsenal come streaming forward now, and surely that will be their last attack.